All right, so in this room, you have to excuse the quality of the video and maybe the echo of the voice. I'm trying to do this with my cell phone, but nonetheless give you something that you can go back and look at for future purposes. This wrench right here will typically be somewhere on this bar down here, if you will, or it may be lying over here on this bar. Typically it'll usually be there. When this cart is in here, you may be able to find it on the cart, but I'll be moving this cart into the lab that we have class on. So very quickly, let's kind of go through what's expected of you for the competency in here. If you'll notice, this is our 4-cylinder oxygen bank in here, and you'll notice that they are stood together. They've got the protective caps over the cylinders when they're not in use. Those need to remain on them when they're not in use. So when you switch one over, you'll need to make sure that you put the cap back on it. Those caps, rust and stuff can build up in them, so they may be a little tough to screw off, if you will. You also notice the rings that are on there. You've got an empty ring and a full ring. Those basically flip over the opposite side of those. We'll say, like for instance, if I were to, that's full, so you just basically take if this were an empty one, just take it off and flip it over for it being full. Because that is empty, we'll leave it as is. These cylinders, because when they are full, they've got a high amount of pressure on the inside of them. Remember, they're going to be probably somewhere in the ballpark of about 2200 psi when they're full. Sometimes they may be a little bit more, but typically we'll consider a full cylinder 2200 psi because they are have a lot of pressure inside of them. If they were to fall over and broke the valve stem off of it or what have you, they could take off. So they need to make sure that they're kept by this bar here. When you guys are having to change cylinders out, you'll be able to move these pretty well. This little screw here pulls out, then you can lift the bar away. It does that on both sides, so it's pretty easy. So you just get that bolt right here. This bolt that I've pulled out here, make sure that we are secured and the cylinders can't fall over. So we've got 4 cylinders here. This is the manifold system. You've got the single stage reducing valve that we've talked about the other day briefly. This single stage, I know it's a single stage reducing valve because it only has one pop-off pressure relief valve. If it had 2 or more pop-off pressure relief valves, it would be considered a multi-stage reducing valve, but because it only has one, it's a single stage reducing valve. So with these cylinders, we're going to be covering some safety systems and so forth. We'll talk about different valves and some of the terminology. I've also made available to you on Blackboard a packet of information that has all the correct terms for the safety systems that are associated with different types of valves and so forth. So first thing we'll talk about is when we are going, so let's talk about the nuts and bolts of everything, and then we'll go through on how to turn the system on and how to turn the system off. With the cylinder, these are our K cylinders in here. You've got the valve stem here. You've got a threaded outlet here. This coupling will fit over this. K cylinders, or your large cylinders, they utilize the American Standard Safety System. So that'll be important for you all to remember in here. These valves are going to be your rotary hand valves, and those just basically allow you to help turn the oxygen on and off once you've turned the valve stem on from the cylinder. You've also got the main on-off valve, or your manifold valve here. This is the T-screw that operates it basically regulates the pressure. It is preset to 50 psi. You can remember that the working pressure for respiratory therapy equipment is 50 psi. So that's that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this video, stop a new video, and we'll go through how to turn the system on in the next video.